Hi again, and welcome to the Belladonna Chronicles. So, I just got up a little while ago and I'm ready to go back into work. This is my morning. To everybody else, it's the evening for them, but to me, this is the beginning of my day. I get to look out at the moon, and then when I'm done with my shift at the end, I get to watch the sunrise. And to me, that can be a beautiful thing. You just got to work with it how you can. So, going back from the first video of my situation, um, a good title for this, and it's always in my mind, is dealing with Jupiter and Mars and me. And sometimes life is a yard sale and everything's got to go um, in order to survive. You got to kind of let things go and move forward. So, we're going to go back again to 2016, and I'm in the emergency room. They've discovered two huge masses in me. And yeah, again, this is a little bit clinical and a little bit creepy, and some people might think it's gross, but again, if you can't handle it, just go play out there. Just go play on the elevator for a while and watch something else, and if you want to later on, you can come back. I think it's really important for women to communicate about this stuff. I know I'm not the only one, and it's important for my daughter here, Babushka. She's out there, and we've talked about it before, but I think rather than over the phone, it's good that she sees this on film, that she sees me actually telling her about it. So, let's set all that aside. I'm in the emergency room. They've discovered two huge masses. They think it's crazy. They're like, we need to hook you up with the OBGYN doctor and also a specialist. And the emergency doctor was really, really kind, and he was straightforward because he's like, we don't know what it is. And so he gave me all the references. He hooked me up with one of the best surgeons in the state of Washington, um, who is affiliated with Kaiser Permanente on Capitol Hill, but most of the surgeries are performed at Overlake Hospital in Bellevue, Washington, which is on the east side. That's where a lot of the upper middle class and a lot of the property owners, like the small property owners, live. It's like the cream of the crop. You can't go wrong if you go to Overlake. We'll see as the story goes along how this is all going to turn out. And I hope you get a good laugh about it. To this day, when I look back on it, it still boggles my mind, and everything happens so fast and it becomes a web, especially when you're dealing with the hospitals out here, when you're dealing with a medical system out here, not just in Washington state, but in the United States in general. And that's why to this day I advocate for universal health care. So, okay, let's go on back, because thinking about this is still a little bit overwhelming for me. A lot of it is almost like looking back at a dream. And during the time, too, I was having bizarre dreams as well. Maybe it was affiliated with the pain. I don't know. But I see the surgeon, but I have to wait. It takes a long time to get the appointments in. Everything was overwhelmed in the schedules. You gotta really put your foot down. Francis was there for me, and he's so good at being organized and analytical about things, and the language that he uses to communicate with these professionals. He can talk like the best lawyer in the neighborhood. he's just very good with legalese and questioning and looking at everything from a Marxist perspective, which means you look at every angle of the situation and you kind of use the scientific method rather than emotion to go through this. And it was good because that helped for us to push forward because we didn't have a lot of time. And we were dealing almost like a fish against a current of really strong water, and you just got to keep going and fighting through this to get the situation handled. So I get an appointment with the surgeon, and she does some further tests. She could not do a C scan right away, she told me, because that area was totally booked. And the closest schedule for a surgery, I would have to wait about 2 to 3 weeks in. That's the closest she could do. It's not that she didn't try to get a surgery in quicker for me. She even called me personally at my home, and that showed me that she was really there for, my well-being. Same with my regular doctor. She was calling me all the time, and just so relieved that we figured out probably why I was so fatigued for quite some time. Kind of touch and go, And then in addition, the surgeon was so happy about my health, about exercising on a regular basis, because she said, this is going to make you stronger. When she sat me down after doing the tests that she could do, she's like, well, you got 2 fibroid tumors in you. And she goes, I don't know how. She goes, you must have some hella strong stomach muscles. Your core must be really good because you've been carrying around one of these tumors and it is massive. She's like, I've never seen anything this big before in my career. And I go, well, how big is it? And I'm just sitting there going, oh God, did I screw up again in my life? How did I not notice this? But she's like, it's the size of a loaf of bread. And I'm going to show you the size. They actually asked me if they could keep it for further study to help out other women in the future. It's like record breaking. It was around 19 inches long, which is this. Yeah. And about 5 inches in diameter, which is this. So that's Jupiter. Mars, on the other hand, was about 3.5 inches, like a baseball, like this, and more round. She said that the big one toured it in me somehow and was resting against my intestines, my stomach, everything else, and was pushing. There was no way for it to come out except through major surgery. And on top of that, she was like, we need to consider what you want to do with your body. Are you planning on having more kids? I'm like, well, hell no. I don't want more kids. I'm going to be 45. I am done. I'm in a happy relationship. I don't plan on getting married, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, well, we also have to consider the fact that this could be cancerous. So we have to figure out right away. You have to make the decision right away if there is a sign of danger. And she's like, even with the C-scan, I'm really not going to know until I go right into the surgery itself. But what do you want to keep in you? This is going to be a major hysterectomy. And I said, well, we'll treat it like a yard sale and everything's got to go. And she's like, well, do you want to keep your ovaries? Do you want to keep this and that? I'm like, nope, take it all away. Just take it. I'm ready. And she's like, well, this This is going to be a different form of menopause for you, but we'll figure out how it's going to be once we get there. And I'm like, cool, that's awesome. While Francis is taking notes the whole time and asking tons and tons of questions. I was still in a lot of jarring pain, but I set the pain aside and focused on how much I could soak all this information in, and I kept stretching and moving around, doing the best I could. At that point, I did get a doctor's note and sent it into the store director right away, and let the fearless leader know. And I called him, and God bless him. He was just so good about it, and in fear, because I told him the reality that this might be a even worse situation as we go through this web and peel off all the layers. We just don't know what the end road's going to be like. And he's like, well, I miss you. Just do what you got to do, and I'll be thinking about you every day. So we get an appointment for the surgery. The soonest that we could do was about 3 weeks out, and it was going to be on the day before Thanksgiving, which was around the 23rd or 24th of November. And I get all prepped up and ready. I have my goals, do as much research as I can, do everything that I'm supposed to do before a major surgery as far as my diet and what to bring, and how I should be physically and emotionally. You do the best you can. I'm I'm going. I got everything packed. I have crochet and good books to read, and all my friends are contacting me saying, we're here for you. We'll make sure that we keep in touch with you and call you, see how you're doing. And then I also arrange stuff. Thank God for the union. I hardly ever call out sick. So I had a mountain of sick leave. And then through the union, too, we also are given disability in situations like this, where whether it's an injury on the job that might happen, or if it's a condition that you or a loved one, like a close relative, your spouse or your child, goes through off the job. So we're getting all prepped up. We go to the hospital. It's all fancy schmancy, like a fancy hotel. And we get all the paperwork in. And it's kind of hard because you got to go through the bureaucracy, deal with the nurses, get signatures to make sure that you have papers to turn in for the bureaucracy of the healthcare system, so they can kick in the sick leave through work. There was one day actually before the surgery where we're in the office, and the nurse was really hesitant about getting a signature because she had other stuff that she was busy taking care of. She had a busy day that day. But we had to tell them, we're just going to wait. And even if the office closes, we'll still be right here. We can't leave without this signature. And that kind of put her at a point where, oh, you guys are serious. Because I had to consider that I'm alone. I don't have any elders to guide me through this. Really, my shining light is my boyfriend, Francis. And there was so much emotional stuff going through my head because I had to deal with my mom dying very young when I was 15. And I was alone. I had a few relatives who would call once in a while and check in on things. But when I communicated about my mom's health, they just put it as, oh, well, that's just mom or your mother, the way she is, and things will get better, and blah, 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 blah. So my mom died too young. She was 47. And here I am, not even that age yet, and it's kind of like a repeat. And I was really worried. So, visions of my mother here just kept going in me. But we moved forward. The end game was I got to deal with Jupiter and Mars. I got to get rid of this thing. And so I'm getting prepped up. It's the day of the appointment. I'm in the room and they're giving me the IV and all of that, making sure I'm ready. I have to sign papers of who's going to take care of what in case I don't survive through all of this. And I remember signing it and just staying happy, staying focused that I am going to get through this. And I remember telling the nurse at the time, giving me the drugs to knock me out. By the way, did I tell you that my blood type is Rh negative? And then I come to. This is going to lead to the next part of the story. The next part of the story is another chapter in this. It didn't end the way people expected, but you might think it may have expected bad, but it kind of ended in a way where once you deal with one challenge, you got to deal with something else. Anyways, as always, I hope you like this video, and you can ring the bell. And I'm going to get ready, and goodbye. I'll see you later.